he was and the shit that he did, and they just like, what? I'm going like, yeah. The phone you're
I'm
playing
rolling.
with.
I'm rolling.
No, I don't
Come
want
on, tell a
no,
story.
I ain't telling a story.
One story.
No, I'm
You're a
running.
guy,
I'm running away from all my
but
stories.
you're a guy with stories. Come on,
I'm
man.
running away from them.
Just one.
And I don't document them for other people to see them.
But one story. Come
See,
on.
most
You have
people
a whole
down
life
here-
of stories.
People down here are running away from everything. You know. You don't want
One
anybody
story.
catching them.
One. You know, my whole life I tried to squeeze a story out of my father-in-law.
Yeah, you get it.
He told me a story, and the only reason he told me is because it was cleared for publication the next day.
Yeah.
About the Achille Lauro. Do you remember the Achille Lauro?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was fucking horrible shit.
Yeah, that his unit intercepted the communication and passed it on to the Americans, who were able to intercept the jet that the terrorist escaped on. And
That was the boat where they threw the guy in the wheelchair over the side and shit.
Klinghoffer.
Yeah. Yeah, that was horrible shit.
Come on, you're a guy with stories.
Yeah,
Don't let them die with you.
I'll write them down someday.
One.
I ain't getting them.
Come on, just
Ain't
throw
getting
me
them.
a crumb.
Don't even know. So you look me up on the internet, you can't even find out who I am.
I'm not going to put your name.
I'm not saying
Just a crumb.
It's a video of me.
A crumb. Send a crumb.
I've been around the world 3 times. I've been to freaking 4 state fairs and a goat fuck. That's the best you can get.
But come on, like something that made a difference in the world.
Me? I haven't made a difference in the world.
They made a difference in somebody's life.
Yeah, and she just died, 47 years old.
So what was the story?
She was an angel. I figure the gods, because I'm not sure whether they figure there's one or more of them, created a couple angels and spread them around the world. And for some reason, chose me to give an angel to. I didn't realize that I actually had this angel until she just passed away recently. And I really had to face it and realize what was happening. And most people will sit there and bitch and moan, God, why me? Why'd you do this to me? I'm suffering. I'm going through all this stuff. I go, yeah, why me? But my why me is all of human beings in the world. Why did you pick me to experience this? Because this is so rare. There aren't people like this. There aren't people that are just perfect little people that don't exist.
And what was your answer?
That's my answer to people now. I tell people now that if you have anybody significant in your life, anyone, just go off by yourself somewhere, just by yourself. Think about what it would be like if that person disappeared tomorrow, like a light switch was thrown. They just don't exist anymore. What would your life be like? And then just go grab that person and never let them go. Because that just happened to me. And she would ask me, why do you love me? I couldn't answer the question. I don't know. I just do. Can't you just accept that I do? I do what I do. I try to take care of you because I love you. And every now and then she'd get confused and ask me that. And then when she passed away at 47 years old from a heart attack, this is Winston, I had to go into the storage where we had put all of her stuff and everything's been in storage because we were going through hurricanes and not having places to live and being all kind of not in one place. And I had to go in and go through all of her clothes. She's traveled all over the world. She's been in 66 different countries. She was a professional ballerina at one time, for a good length of time, which meant she really had to be good at it. She had a very good education, worked in the parliament, has another degree from Oxford University. And she just seemed like this sweet little, quiet, little naive person. But you could tell there was some brilliance in there. I started reading her resume, knowing she kind of did some of this stuff. And as I was reading it, I sat there and said to myself, the question shouldn't be, why do I love her? The question should be, what are you doing with me? Because you're just this special little thing that for some reason the gods made. And I just happened to get to experience you. And
If you had it to do over again, what would you do different?
I wouldn't have let her go. I wouldn't have let her go where she was. I'm sitting there trying to piece my life back together, do stuff here to kind of give us a place to exist so we can kind of build our lives back up. And figuring she'd be feeding me soup in about 10 years, not the other way around. And she went to Alaska because I had a place up there that she could be at where she was relatively safe, didn't have to worry about working too hard. And she was struggling with a chemical imbalance that the doctors probably over medicated her and were doing stuff that we were trying to straighten out. And she was up there and had a heart attack. What I would have done differently, I wouldn't have let her go there. I would have figured some way out. It was taking longer to get everything else done. But I just thought I had time. But, you know, the bottom line is you can't do anything about it. And I had an angel. And now I try to tell people, you know, just realize, you know, what you got. And not even so much what you have, you know. I mean, that's kind of like probably the wrong thing, because it's like people will always go into this, you know, beating themselves up and being mad at God and everybody else for, like, you know, doing this to them that hurt them so much for this loss. And I go, I can't do that. Because God gave me an angel. I experienced it, I saw it, I held it. It loved me. No, it's not here.
Do you believe in God?
I don't know what I believe in.
Well, you referenced God several times.
Well, because I'm probably agnostic, and I think all of us want to have a God. I just don't know if we all sort of can figure out what that really is. But we're all trying to figure it out, and none of us really know the answer. Like everything we do is all secondhand. Someone else told us this is what God told them. I always tell people, like, it's like Moses. Moses went up, talked to the bush, and came down and goes, okay, God told me, here's the rules. Moses had no choice but to go up in that mountain and come down with a bunch of rules because everybody wasn't paying attention to what they should have been paying attention to. So did God really talk to Moses, or did Moses just figure out it's the only way they're going to listen to me? Here are the rules.
So what's your idea of God?
I don't know. I just kind of sit there now wondering, like, is there a purpose? Is there some kind of meaning to it all? Can't figure that part out, because a lot of it just doesn't make any sense. And then you got to figure that at some point the sun is going to zephyr and burn everything to a crisp, and there'll be nothing here. And what's left then? Just be cinders. I don't know.
But you said God several times. God sent you an angel.
I try to do that.
God sent you an angel. An angel is a celestial being.
Well, here's the thing. People as societies, okay, we're raised with religions.
We're raised?
With religions, for the most part. We all have a...
What religion are you?
I was raised Catholic.
Okay.
But we're all kind of raised with a religion, okay? And when you really break it down, it's all kind of sort of the same thing. You know, it's all kind of, you know, it's the golden rule, so to speak, you know? Like, here's the rules to live by, so we don't all, like, fuck with each other. And then they just throw in all this other stuff to just try to keep everybody in line, whereas there's a wrath of a God. And that different religions figure they're the only ones that have the answer. And we don't have the answer. I mean, we all can strive for the answer. We can always figure there's an answer. But basically, it's all just been passed down from one generation to the next, to the next, to the next, and some kind of communication from one to the next. And it all comes out to the same thing, but I look at it as, is it just something to keep us all in line? Or is there really something there?
But in your heart of hearts, the first thing you said was, God sent me an angel.
Because I figure most people would recognize that, okay? I mean, because most people would have to deal with the death, okay? To me, it's just a loss. Okay? I lost something.
But of an angel.
But
a celestial being.
I had something very special. I had something very, very rare. I mean, it's like there are not many human beings this good-natured, this perfect on the earth. I mean, she just loved everybody, accepted everything, loved nature, loved animals, had nothing bad to say about it, trusted everybody. And it's rare. There was no ego there. Like, we all sort of an ego. We all do stuff. It's like when we sit there and we say we do something, like we go get a driver's license or a license to drive an airplane or to run a boat or yourself with diving, okay? We go, I got my license to do this. Rather than, I got a license to do this. We all put the ego in front of it first. This woman had no ego. It just didn't exist. It wasn't there. And to experience somebody that doesn't have that is rare, because we all sort of have it. She didn't have it.
Do you think that was a godly character?
I think if there's such a thing as a God, and if there's such a thing as there's gods and there's the angels and all of the other, absolutely. And at the same time, I think there is an evil, and of course you have to have good and evil in order to have, the difference between the two. Because if everything was happy joy all the time, you wouldn't know you were happy joy unless you were sad sometimes. Then you'd realize, okay, I'm happy. But I don't know. It's just kind of weird, because I've had some horrible stuff happen. That if there's demons, I got to the point where, do these things really exist? Because something is fighting with me. And I can take out the little demons, but there's one that I just can't beat.
And what do you think that is?
I don't know, because the person that I thought might have that answer died on me. The person that I thought that could probably guide me with that, if there was such a thing, passed away before I got a chance to take his brain.
So what do you think the purpose of life is?
Don't know.
Can't be random, right?
Why not?
It doesn't make sense.
Well, it just doesn't make sense to us, because we need to have a reason. And the reason I think we need to have a reason is so we don't all kill each other. Because if there wasn't a reason, we'd all be just beating the shit out of each other and just stealing from each other and just hurting each other.
Do you think there's a reason, a purpose in life?
I would like to think there is. Just can't see that there is. I would like to think there is. I'd like to think there's a benevolent God, but when you realize all of the evil crap that goes on, it's like, why would a God do this? And why would a God have to have his rules passed through someone else rather than come down himself? Okay, I mean, you think, if Christ was supposedly a God or Son of God or whatever, okay, why give this knowledge to people at that point when they were that backwards? And if it didn't work that time, why not just come down now and do it? Communication is better. You could just come down, go to the town green, and say, "Hey, I'm God. Here I am."
But then your free will is gone.
You still have free will.
No. If God taps you on the shoulder and says, "Here I am," and then you don't have the ability to choose.
Sure you do.
No, you don't.
Still be evil or good. You still can go rob your neighbor.
Yeah, but if you had come face to face with God, you absolutely do not have any choices anymore. Your choice is gone.
Well, you have less. Let's see. I don't know if you have the choices gone.
Your choice is gone. If you put a knife to your
why
arm,
would you need the choice? I mean, what difference would it make?
Because you need to choose yourself.
Why?
Huh?
Why?
Because that's the test.
The test of what?
The test of believing in God or not.
Okay. So if all you're trying to do is believe in God or not, then what difference if a guy comes up and says, "Hey, here I am. I'm it. I'm God. Believe in me now."
Because once
I
God
just showed you that I'm God.
Once God reveals himself,
Yeah.
It's like putting a knife to your arm, right? If you put a knife to your arm and you slice it, you know what the results of that action are.
Yeah.
The consequences.
Well, I know the pain part of
The
it.
pain and blood and the whole mess, right?
Drop dead, yeah.
Right. So you know the consequences, right?
Yeah.
So if you know there's God, if you know there with absolute certainty there's God, and you don't live your life according to his commandments and his rule,
Yeah.
then it's like putting a knife to your arm. You have absolute clarity that there's
You can still make that choice.
yeah, but the choice is gone, because you also have a choice to slice your arm. You have a choice to slice your arm, but you know with absolute certainty if you slice your arm.
There's a lot of people that slice their arms.
Yeah, but you know with absolute certainty.
And they know for
you
certainty it's going to be like a horrible mess.
Right, it's going to be a horrible
anyway.
mess. It's a free choice.
Yeah.
But how much of a free choice is it? Because you know the
Then
consequences.
why do we bother educating ourselves? The more education we have, the more you're going to make the better choice, okay? Because you have education and choice. You get more wisdom, okay? So we should just not strive for wisdom?
So wisdom is very, very valuable. especially wisdom of the existence of God.
Well, I'd have a lot more wisdom if God would just come down and say, hey, have a chat
Yeah,
with me.
but
Let's have
then
a chat.
so there's my rabbi.
Here's your
My rabbi told me that if God flew into the seat and told you exactly what you needed to do in your life, you would write it off as, oh my gosh, it was that LSD I did in '67 that I'm having a flashback, right? It's not really. It didn't really happen.
Well, I don't know. I mean, if the God thing did or didn't happen 2,000 plus years ago, okay, with people that had very difficult time in communicating all of that to each other, which obviously they all didn't get it because we're still sitting there killing each other and doing all kinds of stupid shit to each other. Okay? If he tried to give that message when more people could understand the message, that they still may not all get it, why not give the message to them then? It's kind of like if there's these aliens flying around in spaceships, okay? Why wouldn't they just tell us they're aliens?
Because God wants you to have free choice. He wants you to choose.
So God's stopping them from telling us.
No, God wants you to choose to connect to Him or not. And if He reveals Himself to you, you lose the free choice because you know the absolute consequences of not
But why would
connecting
you?
Him.
But then why would you choose God?
Why?
Yeah.
Because if you have
no knowledge of what really is there, okay, limited amount of knowledge, okay, why bother making that decision?
why?
Making that decision to accept this God
Because
that has not really said this is who I am.
because God has left. Success leaves clues, and God leaves clues, right? There's certain things in the
There's
world.
a lot of like horrible clues too.
Hmm?
It leaves a lot of horrible clues. You know, like we had people like Stalin and Hitler and people following that, and, you know, killing each other and doing all kinds of horrible
Yeah,
things to each
there's
other.
no question that
it's
there's
like,
evil in
it's
the
like,
world.
God, couldn't you like step in and like, you know, get in the way of that a little bit?
Well,
You know?
look what happened in World War II in the Holocaust. You know, 6 million Jews were lost, but look what came out of it.
And people deny, and even like look at today. Okay, I mean, even today you've got, I mean, the Jewish, I guess, race, whatever you want to call it. I don't know what the proper term would be, but I mean, it's like never forget. Okay, they're forgetting right now. There's huge amount of blocks of them that are forgetting. It's like, what the fuck? I mean, anybody should get this. The descendants of those people should sort of get this, okay? And if the descendants of those people are forgetting it, the message wasn't passed on very well.
That's a point.
You know, and it kind of bothers me that message wasn't passed on better than that. I mean, it kind of sort of was passed to me by, like, you know, my immediate ancestors. I'm just looking for a pack of cigarettes to try to kill myself with. I don't know what I do.
What are you missing?
I was just looking for a pack of smokes, but I don't have them. And I don't know. It just, I don't know. Like, we got this big election thing going on right now. And you got the two teams playing. And it's like, people, it ain't about teams. Stop playing teams.
But going back to what you said, you made a very profound point that I want to redirect you back
get
to.
me back to this.
Yeah, you made a
point.
profound point. You said God sent me an angel.
Yeah,
There
because-
must be some acknowledgement that this woman was beyond human in terms of her character.
Maybe I probably shouldn't have used the word term angel for that because she had her faults, okay? But her good parts were so much beyond what most people deal with life. I mean, you all deal with life, but she was just beyond all of that.
So,
okay?
so do you believe that there's a
Angels.
eternal that you have to answer for your
I'm struggling with that one.
for your eternal.
I'm struggling a lot with that one. I mean, I'm thinking about it a lot, and I'm struggling with it because you also can get where it's like.
Is there consequences for your actions in another world? Do you have to answer to your? Do you have an eternal soul?
Well, first we got to figure out if that actually exists or not.
Do you have an eternal soul? Do you believe in an eternal soul?
Still out on that one.
Still out on that?
Yeah, I'm still out on that one. That's still the agnostic thing, you know.
Uh huh.
Okay, and as I say, if if you try to figure that out, okay, I can use this thing that just happened to me and say, like, okay, will I get to experience this being again, this person, okay? Because if there is something after life, she's got to be there somewhere, okay? And then it's not this, so there it's different. And would that be something that I would really care for or not care for anyways, okay? But then do I live my life to get there differently than I'm living it? Okay, do I have to do something now to be more perfect at what I'm trying to do to get there, okay? And then the get there is I question, what is the there? Because if there is such a there that is this heavenly thing that everybody can get to, okay, and you can experience it again, okay, first of all, you got to figure, does she really want to have to put up with my getting there? And if we all sort of can get there, there's a lot of evil people there.
Well, what about
why should they be there? Okay, well, I mean, I mean that means Hitler's somewhere. Okay, that means Stalin is somewhere. Okay,
what's your name?
My name?
Yeah.
I don't want to give
What's your first name? You can give me your first name.
That guy.
Can I call you Marvin?
The guy. Yeah. The guy,
okay, Marvin.
The guy in the Jeep.
Marvin, the guy in the Jeep. Let me ask you a question. Do you believe that you live your life with a moral compass?
Yes, I think I do. I try to.
Okay. So what's that about?
That's about...
If you don't believe in God, what do you have to do that for?
Because I think it's a good thing to do so that we're not all killing each other. And I think that just...
So is that a ruse?
I don't know. I don't know what the...
So why do you do it? Why do you even make the effort?
Because I just think that my life would be better not fucking with everybody else's life. And because if they're not getting fucked with, they're not going to be fucking with my life, okay? And I think if we all did that, we'd all be less screwing with each other's lives, which where I get back to this woman that had no ego. It's like, if we got rid of that ego thing, okay, then we all wouldn't be doing it. We all wouldn't be doing things, making the decisions that we make for ourselves.
So
we'd be more selfless, okay?
Marvin, I got to tell you, you're saying something. The guy in the Jeep, Marvin, you're saying something that the very, very holy rabbis have said for hundreds of years. That the idea of the ego, to diminish the ego, is the only way to really serve God. Because to serve God, you have to have really no ego.
Yeah. Well, it's just to have. I don't know if it's serving God or just serving the idea. You know, because I would hate to think. I hope you don't mind. I'm going to say right. I would hate to think. Okay. That at the end of all of this, okay, there's actually a being sitting there that is superior to all the other beings. I would much rather think that when you all got there, you're all equal beings.
So there's no superior being?
There's no superior being.
Okay, so how did the world come into existence?
Yeah, that's a huge mystery to everybody right now.
Yeah?
We all struggle with it.
Your eyeball.
Mm-hmm.
You think that just came into existence through some type of random act of science?
Probably not, because you got to figure we had to throw in the DNA thing and all of that kind of stuff, and then they had to engineer the DNA thing to think it sort of all like click.
So you think that's all random?
I'm not sure.
How could it possibly? You know mechanics on a boat.
Why would it be done so poorly in some areas?
Huh?
Why would it be done so poorly in some areas?
It's not that it's done poorly. It's just there's certain areas that we don't understand.
I mean, the fact that my back fails, okay, because it was engineered kind of poorly, or is this the best you could engineer a back? I would think that you probably could engineer a better path. You probably could make a better path for the nerves to run through that wouldn't just crush the nerves down and create vast amounts of pain for a relatively minor amount of wear and tear on the back.
So maybe that in itself has a purpose.
So maybe that's what I'm saying. Either that was intentionally done, okay, or it was just a screw up, or
but maybe it
was random.
Maybe that was meant to teach you something. Maybe that was meant to for you.
Maybe not. What if it wasn't? What if it wasn't done for any reason?
Do you believe in that the universe is random? How could it possibly be? How could the universe possibly be random? How could the human body be possibly random? How could the human eye be possibly random? How could you believe that it could just come into being? That's like
there's no other ones. Or there's other ones, or just this one here.
What's the chances of putting a monkey in front of a typewriter and having him type out the works of Shakespeare. Is that?
If you put enough
Is it-
monkeys there, the odds are actually it could happen.
It's
It's
totally.
astronomical, but I
it-
mean, it could do it.
The odds are.
If enough monkeys sat around for long enough, typing away on a typewriter, there is a possibility, very, 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 very remote, that they could type that.
Come on, you can't believe that.
I do believe
The
that.
possibility is zero.
Not at zero. There's always a possibility.
There's no possibility that a group of monkeys
No, only unless there's someone walks in and goes, wait, he's getting close. Stop that.
could. It's just not happening.
It's time for you to fall over and just stop breathing for a little while. You're done.
You don't believe that. You don't believe that at all. Come on.
I would like to think that there's something there. I just don't like to think the solution we all have right now is the solution.
But the idea of randomness, you have to agree, doesn't exist. Come on, you've seen enough in your life to know that things aren't random. You know, you see the planets that revolve around the Earth. The human eyeball has such.
Well, that stuff
specific-
is actually doing it. I mean, there is a rhyme and reason to that. Not that we all understand it, but there is a rhyme and reason, and we get more.
But it's
understanding
certainly
and
not
more
random.
understanding.
You have to agree, it's not random. It's not random.
I don't know. I mean,
You think the
because you can come down and say, "Are we random?" Okay, or did someone actually stick us here? Okay, because you can go with with Darwinism, okay, which says it's random. Okay, or you can say that isn't so, but we do evolve. Okay, so what is it? Do we evolve to this somehow, or did somebody design this to be this way, and then adjusts it all the time?
You don't think there's a component of high level design in all of creation?
I think there may be.
There may be. How could you say possibly maybe? Look at the world
Well,
there.
because then we're sitting there saying someone had to do that.
Yes.
Okay. So the first question in catechism stuff, when you're like a little Catholic little kid, okay, the first catechism question is, who made me? The answer is, God made me. Stands to be the next question should be, who made God? And that's where you get smacked up the side of your head and you're told you don't ask that question.
Mhm. Well, it's not that
Okay.
you don't ask that question. Is that
Well, you're
that in
you're trying to encourage that question you don't ask.
Mhm.
You know.
It-
So my question would be like, okay, then who made God? If there's a God, who made it? Okay, and we all have a perception of what God is. Okay, because we've all been told.
And what is
this
that
what God
perception?
is.
What is
Well,
that perception?
It's this benevolent being that just kind of floats around and like just watches us do our shit and then does things to kind of like test us. Okay, I would hate to think that that's really what God is.
What would you like to think God is?
I would like to think we're all God.
That we're all God?
Yeah.
Isn't that very egotistical?
No, I would just like to think that we all are part of this collective thing that just is this thing. Okay? And it doesn't have to be something that started this thing, it's just this thing.
Well,
we're all a
the-
piece of this thing, okay?
Uh-huh.
I mean, it's like the Buddhists will sit there and go like, you're going to be reincarnated as this other little creature, okay? Which is a cool concept and idea, other than the fact that why wouldn't you have a memory, or where is the memory for all those different experiences, okay? Is there some other memory sitting somewhere that once you went from this existence to the cockroach on the ground existence, that you then can sit there and go, okay, here's the experience I got from this human existence, and here's the one that I got from the cockroach existence, okay? Now you're a horse, okay? So now that you're the horse, okay, you sort of forget that you were a human or a cockroach, okay? But you got the knowledge from that and should have the wisdom, but where's that wisdom stored, okay? So now you got to sit there and figure then somewhere there's this other thing that is storing all of this wisdom. I don't see where that thing is. You know, and now I have this person that was just this perfect little person that I called an angel, for lack of any other way to be able to explain this, okay? Still did it probably poorly, okay? And go like, okay, you know, like, where is that now?
Do you think that was random? Do you think she was random? Do you think she was created random? Or do you think she was created for a purpose?
I said that she was created, okay? That she was put here, okay? I used that term, okay? And if it was random, it was a pretty fucking wild random thing, okay? I would like to think that maybe there was some purpose that did that, but then that's the same purpose that created the demons, okay? So you got to struggle with both of them. And the demon shit kind of like fucking mesmerizes me. I mean, I don't believe in ghosts and all that stuff, but I had an experience when I was younger that I can't really explain what actually really was going on. But when I explain to people what it was, they go, oh, that's one of those shadow people. And other people supposedly have experienced this, okay?
And what was that experience?
I was at a house where I ended up being at the house. It was an old house that kind of was removed from modern day conveniences and whatnot. For some reason, this particular building was not modernized, but all the other ones around it that were, meaning, you know, there was still gas lines running up to the lights in the upstairs and wires outside that were then run up to put electricity in it. And
What city? What state?
This was in the state of Connecticut.
What city?
It was in Bridgeport, Connecticut. And I had an experience where something would come out of the closet, stand at the edge of the bed, wake me up, and just be menacing me. And it scared me for a few days.
What did it look like? What did it say? What was your?
It had no real shape or form to it. It just was, this thing was there, and it didn't seem like it was a good thing. And
Did you speak to it? Did it speak to
I
you?
told it to go fuck itself and leave me alone, and it did. So now my thought on it is, okay, what really was that? Okay, was there really something there? Okay, or did I make it up? Was it in my head? And when I decided to confront it, did I in my head confront my head and tell it not to? But then when I hear other people experienced it, and they had a name for it, they called it shadow people, I went, okay, so other people are experiencing this same basic thing that I went through. Now, was it because it really exists, or was it their minds playing games with them exactly the same way because our minds kind of do the same thing? And they didn't grasp onto it, just to tell it to go fuck itself. Which then brought me back to the Exorcist guy, okay? Because I figured, okay, other people have experienced this. The other ghosts and bumps in the middle of the night are just people not being aware of what's going on, I figured, okay? This one bothered me because I can't grasp, is that really there? And if it is really there, then there's a whole lot of other crap going on. It isn't just our perspective and thing on life. Which hence when we get to, when you're dead, you're still there, you're not there, you know? Or where are you? You know?
How old are you?
I'm 66.
66. What do you think you need to do the rest of your life to self-actualize?
Probably not anything. Probably just, you know, live my life the way I've been going, just a little more relaxed on what I'm doing. Hope the hurricanes don't kill me.
But what about
Be dead.
in terms of this conversation? What do you think you need to do in terms of realizing